I must say I do like recordings because they're really helpful with my throat. I have been really struggling with the air quality and the problems that we have going on with our environment. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the agenda for week 7. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see this and you can see this. All right. I think I go to 200. One thing I want to point out, when you email me, I have the email address right here, and I said include your full name and period in the subject line, and I put an example here. Some of you like to write your message in the subject line. Some of you want to put your problem in the subject line. I want your name and period in the subject line. And I've talked about this over and over. I love it when you email me and I want to help you, but if you don't put your name and period in the subject line, then I can't clear your attendance or I can't do these different tasks on Gradebook because in the tabs along the top here, it'll say your name and period on the tab, and that's how I'm able to navigate and do things effectively and efficiently. So if you want to put your name, period, and your student ID number, that's fine. That's all helpful. But please don't put your problem here. I'll read the problem in your message. I keep going over this every single week, and yet we still have students that are struggling with this. And that's why I put it on the top of every single agenda with an example, and yet I still have students not doing it. So I will not help you with whatever your problem is unless you do your name and period. I had to play hardball. I'll just say, sure, send me an email appropriately, and then I'll help you, okay? Because I've gone over this and over this and over this. I know you guys can do it. The example is on your agenda. All right, scrolling down, we have had some videos and some lessons. Yesterday, we learned about 1-point perspective. Next poll question to see if you guys are awake. Did you find the video helpful? 17 said yes. 22 said yes. And then we still have the same students that are not responding. So Alexander, oh, there he went. Brian Hernandez, Miguel Garcia. Come on, guys, you got to wake up. I ask poll questions all throughout. I need you to be paying attention. Maybe it's your Wi-Fi. I don't want to hear the excuses, but if it's happening all the time, it leads me to believe you're playing video games. So, it was a quick little video, and what I liked about it is you really got to see the whole dynamic of 1-point perspective, and we've already experimented with it, so it made more sense, is my hope. Now, today, we are going to talk about the 3D sketchbook cover and as an overview of the assignment. So I put a video here, and this video is kind of long, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and start playing it, and then we're going to start our exercise.
In this video, we will be explaining linear perspective. There are two kinds of perspective, linear perspective and aerial perspective. The two important features of linear perspective are objects appear smaller as their distance from the observer increases. And foreshortening is to represent a line, form, or object as shorter than actual length in order to give an illusion of recession or projection in accordance with the laws of linear perspective. Let's look at the first feature. Objects appear smaller as their distance from the observer increases. We can see all these lines in this airport converging on one point, and that point that they converge to is called the vanishing point. This point right here is the vanishing point. And as you proceed along the lines toward the vanishing point, objects appear to get smaller. Let's look at the people in this image who are all relatively the same size. As you can see, as we move into the distance toward the vanishing point, the size of the people decrease considerably. This man and this man, if they were standing next to each other, they're all the same size. But as you can see, they appear to get smaller and smaller as they move into the vanishing point. In other words, they're all going to eventually vanish also. Now let's look at this building outside. At first glance, you wouldn't guess that all these lines point to the same spot, but they in fact do. We'll draw these lines along the side of the building and follow these lines, and you can see that all of these lines point to one spot, the vanishing point. Even up here in these towers, just check this line here, from here to the vanishing point. It follows the lines. Now let's check the sidewalk from this point to there, and sure enough, the line follows the vanishing point. Now you'll also notice that the vertical lines on the building are perfectly plumb. That means they go straight up. Even though the lines from the side of the building are pointing toward the vanishing point, the vertical lines are still perfectly vertical or plumb. So the vertical lines in a vanishing point perspective are not distorted. Now the vanishing point is on the horizon. This line right here is the horizon. This is what we call the true horizon. Now, the visible horizon is where the trees meet the sky up there. But the true horizon is at eye level when you're looking at an object or an image. I'll show you what I mean. To determine the horizon line, hold your brush at arm's length, close one eye, hold your brush level, don't go higher and don't go lower. Hold it at eye level and look through the brush, and you'll see the horizon line, the true horizon line. Sometimes the visible horizon line will hide the true horizon line, but the true horizon line will be right through your brush. So here's the concept from a distance. I'm looking through my brush into the distance, and there's the vanishing point, and these green lines would represent something like trees or people as the distance increases from the viewer to the vanishing point. Now here's what I mean by the visible horizon line. These points right here are the visible horizon line, where the sky meets the ground. But the true horizon line, when I'm standing out in this field looking at eye level, the true horizon line is going to be through these mountains. So if I'm painting a building, I want the perspective to be pointing at the true horizon line, not the visible horizon line. So I hold my brush out at eye level, and right there is the true horizon line. Of course, the true horizon line is much easier to see when you're looking at the ocean because it's completely and totally level. So as you can see here, the true horizon line is the water line. Another thing to remember, the sky also is affected by perspective. Let's look at this landscape. Here's the horizon line. Put some mountains in the background. Here's some trees that are obeying the rules of perspective. You can see the trees are getting smaller as they recede into the background toward the vanishing point. Let's put some perspective lines in the sky. Notice how the clouds get bigger as they come toward you, or conversely, they get smaller as they're going away from you toward the vanishing point. So the clouds also will diminish in size as they move toward the vanishing point. Many people will make big white clouds any size and put them in the sky, and then they wonder why their landscape looks funny. And it's because the sky does not have perspective in it. So remember when you're painting clouds that they also diminish in size as they get further away from the eye. Now let's look at how perspective affects a building. So this is single point perspective. And this only works if you're standing directly in front of a building where the front of the building is square. Here's you. Here's the horizon line. Here's the vanishing point. Let's draw lines from each corner of the building to the vanishing point. This is called single point perspective. And then here's the building. It appears to get smaller as it moves into the distance. Now let's talk about 2-point perspective. This would be if you were standing at the corner of a building and you were seeing a vanishing point going in two different directions. You'll see what I mean when we draw this. Here's the corner of the building. Here's the horizon line. There's a vanishing point here and a vanishing point here. You can see we're standing at the corner of this building. It appears that the building is getting smaller as it moves toward the vanishing point in the distance. This is a conflict for your brain because your brain knows the building is square on each side, and yet it seems to be getting smaller as it recedes into the background. So you have to believe the right side of your brain this time. Believe what you're seeing, not what you know. Now let's look at a two-point perspective, but we'll raise our point of view up higher as if we're on top of another building looking down at this building. So here's our corner of our building. Here's the horizon line. Notice the corner of this building is perfectly vertical. Here's the vanishing points, vanishing point here, and a vanishing point here. Now let's draw the other two corners of the building, and you'll notice that they are also perfectly vertical. They're not affected by the vanishing point. Now we draw lines from the top of the building to the vanishing point. So now we're seeing the top of the building as well. And remember, each side of this building is square, but it appears that it's getting smaller as it recedes toward the vanishing point. So we end up with this box that we know is square on each side and the top, but it doesn't appear that way. Here's a perfect square with 4 right angles. Each one of these corners is a perfect 90-degree angle. And that's the way our box is. Each side and the top is square, but that's not the way it appears. So remember, when you're drawing, you have to believe what you see, not believe what you know. The left side of the brain knows this box to be square on all sides, but the right side of the brain is seeing it as it appears. In fact, we can separate each one of these sides. There's not a single 90-degree angle on any of these angles. We'll pull our box over to check the right angle. As you can see, none of these angles is a right angle. Again, it's a conflict for our brain because we know that the building is square on each side and the top, and yet there's not a single right angle on it that we see. So again, this is just another lesson in learning how to see. Believe what your right brain sees. When you're drawing, don't believe what your left brain knows to be true. Now let's take a quick look at foreshortening. To foreshorten is to represent a line, form, or object as shorter than actual length in order to give an illusion of recession or projection in accordance with the laws of linear perspective. So this is going to be another conflict between the left and right side of our brain. The left side of our brain knows how long this brush is, but when we draw it as a foreshortened object, it will appear to be very short in length. That's from left to right. So as you can see, when we turn the brush sideways, we see it's true in full length, and our left brain is totally satisfied with that. But when we turn our brush toward the camera, it appears to be way too short. Our left brain does not relate to that at all. In fact, our left brain will try to get us to draw it longer than it actually is. But again, you have to believe what you see. Don't believe what you know to be true. When you're drawing, you draw what you see. So that's a look at the very complicated subject of perspective. It's not easy to understand, so watch this video a few times and believe what you see and paint what you see rather than what you know to be true. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe, and please click on the like button.
Okay, I know that that's a pretty deep video, but it's a really strong, good video to explain 1-point perspective. And that's why I've been using it because I cannot physically explain it better. I love, let me turn my camera back on. I forgot I turned it off. I love how he has, put in the video all the visuals, and he put a, paintbrush in front of him and he held it up to eye level. Now that is important with 1-point perspective. Everything is eye level. We use paintbrushes or pencils and we hold them up to use as measurements, different directions to sketch and draw. And this 1-point perspective, I'm telling you, is probably the hardest thing you're going to learn this entire school year, but it's a good one and it's for your sketchbooks. One thing I wanted to share with you, let me see if I can get my camera over here nice and big so that, how can I make this big for everyone? Can you guys see me nice and big? I'm not sure if you're seeing my computer screen or if you're seeing me. Because somebody turn on their microphone, sit lolly. Am I a little image or am I a big image?
Little.
Okay, okay, that's okay. I'll see if I can fix this. So I'm gonna turn on my camera, my other camera. I got more than one. And what I'd like to do is talk to you about another idea that I'm hoping for you. There's like a reason for my madness, and I want to share that with you. Remember when I asked you all to collect materials like cereal boxes? That, okay, let me face it this way. That's me upside down. There's my desk. Very good. And I'll make this full screen. Isn't that how you do it? How do I do it? There's so many things on my screen. Sometimes it's hard for me to navigate. There we go. Full screen. So, I wanted to show you guys a couple of cool things that I'm planning for you all. And what we can do, for example, if you have a cereal box, I prefer a cereal box, a nice big one, bigger than this. But it's the same kind of idea. You can get a cereal box. That's what this was. And I turned it with the cardboard on the outside. And I cut off the extra parts. If you look inside this, this was a cereal box. And this is where I could put all my artwork and have it nice and protected so it doesn't get damaged. You can also put your sketchbook in here as well. So it's a cool little recycled keepsake. Like if I had a sketchbook, this is my sketchbook, and I can put it in here and it's safe and your family will know that this is where all your important art papers are going so that nobody messes with them. You know, we have all of our little sketches and notes and step-by-step this and that. You can fit this in here. It's like a little folder. And I put staples on the corners. It doesn't have to have staples. It could just be a protective little folder. And you can put all your keepsakes in there. What my goal is to design this and make it really cool with 1-point perspective letters later on. And if you don't want to do it on this, that is perfectly fine. You can be putting it on the cover of your sketchbook. I think I put it inside here. And that's going to be the goal for us is we're going to, and this is a tiny sketchbook because I don't have the long paper that I passed out to everyone. Yours is much longer. It's like this big and it's got beautiful pages to do sketches and notes in. And we're trying to practice to get to this cover design. We're not doing this yet. We're still working on the scratch paper, but we will get there, and our hope is to get really dimensional. So back to where we were with this 1-point perspective. Last time we talked together, we made a background, a foreground, a middle ground. We made a palm tree large. Things that are larger appear bigger, just like the little people he was showing in the video. Off in the distance, the people got smaller. And that was all based on 1-point perspective. He also talked about 2-point perspective, and we're not going to cover 2-point perspective right now. We're only covering 1-point perspective. So going back to the art rules, I would like everyone to have your art rules paper. I would like for you to have a pencil. If you don't have a pencil, a pen is okay, but I'd prefer a pencil. I'm going to give you a second to do that. And I would also like you to have a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, some sort of straight edge. I don't have a ruler at home. The irony. So I use this. I'm going to cut this so that it's not so big and in my way while you guys are gathering your materials. Too bad I don't have scissors. Oh, there we go. I passed out rulers at school. I also passed out color pencils, all kinds of materials when I was at school. You can use the edge of a book, but it's nice to have something kind of smaller. I cut this And I know this is a perfectly straight line here, so I can use that like a ruler. We're not doing any measurements because some of us don't have rulers, and that's okay. We're going to eyeball it today. I don't know if I can use the pencil because I'm afraid you won't see. So I'm going to try my best. I am going to, as best as I can, draw a horizon line between my art rules sad face and happy face to show you some new ideas today. So I'm going across. Hopefully that shows up. Yes, you guys can see that. So that is my horizon line. I would like everyone to do a horizon line. What happens if I zoom in? It's going to get blurry on me. All right. Please give me a thumbs up or a yes when you're done. We will be taking a photograph of this at the end of the period, by the way. Okay, it looks like we're waiting on half of the class to finish. I need a thumbs up or a yes. I don't want to move too fast. Everybody should always have, their materials together for art time. This is a drawing class. This is what we're doing together is drawing. Okay, it looks like 20 out of 37 have finished. Miguel, what's the problem? Oh, you're done? Okay, let me see. Who else? Eric, do you need more time? What's the problem? Talk to me. Or are you just not here with us? Karina? And then I know Ryan's having some Wi-Fi issues, so I'm not going to wait on him. Elizabetha, what's the problem? Okay, I don't think Elizabetha's with us. She hasn't responded to anything, so I'll go ahead and mark her absent. All right, and everybody else is done. Fantastic. So thank you, Ryan. I got your response now. It worked. It was glitchy, but it worked. Fantastic. Now we're going to go ahead and do a vanishing point in the middle. A nice little dot. You don't want it too big. Oh, that doesn't look right. Let me see if I can change my lights. There we go. Now you see it. It was reflecting in the middle. We're eyeballing it. And now we're going to use our makeshift ruler, or if you have a ruler. And this gets tricky. And I'm going to have to rotate my paper like this because my A is so far to the side. Watch me, and then I'll give you class time, okay? Anything that can hit the edge of your shape, I'm going to get my ruler. I always put my pencil and my makeshift ruler, and I just go boop, 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 and it stops right at the corner of that A. So I'm going to draw a line all the way to that corner right here. And that's my first guideline to the vanishing point. So from here to here, that's where my ruler ended. Sorry, my dogs are barking. I'm going to clear. Now just give me a thumbs up when you're done with that one so I can understand the pace of everyone, because I know this is a little awkward. I have the door shut and these dogs are just going nutty. I'm so sorry. It's probably the mailman. I even passed out pencil sharpeners if you needed one at school. If you don't have the materials, go to school and pick them up. They're waiting for you in the principal's office. All right. 10 of you have said you're ready for the next step. Where's the rest of you? 13. You need a desk or some smooth surface, a clipboard, or your little folder, something smooth to work on. Sahari, do you need help? Okay. Well, you didn't say you were done. I got a little hand saying, hold on. And then Elizabeth is still not participating. Okay, good. It looks like we're all ready, except for Miguel. Miguel, do you need help? All right, thank you. Now we're going to do the next little corner here. Go ahead and put your pencil right on that corner of the A, and we're going to draw a line all the way to the vanishing point. Everything goes to that vanishing point. Yours might be slightly different location because we all drew this, differently. And then that goes straight to the vanishing point. Bink. Now we're going to do a really hard one. Those were the easy ones. The next one is, I call it like the inner thigh of the A, the inside part right here. So I'm going to put my pencil right on the inner thigh of the A leg. And I'm going to try my best. You never put the line through the letter, but you always draw to the vanishing point. So I'm going to hold this up closer so you all can see that. So the inner thigh of the A right here, and it goes all the way to the vanishing point. You're doing this in pencil and you're doing it a lot lighter than me. I had to draw this really dark, so practice drawing lightly. And then I'm going to do the next corner of the A, which is right there. And then I'm going to do this one. I'm going to go a little faster. All of those corners of the A. This is why I like using hard-edged letters instead of bubbles, because on bubbles it's hard to tell where to draw the lines. So with beginners, I always like to do hard-edged letters. So you're doing like the two corners of the A feet and the inner thigh. I don't know how else to explain it for you guys to understand. Once you've finished all of those little legs and corners and inner thighs, please give me a yes. I don't want to move too quickly. Somebody's microphone is on. Sahari, mute your microphone. Sahari, your microphone is on. Yeah, Sahari Salgado's microphone is on. We can all hear what's going on. Okay. Should I remove her? How do I don't understand. There, now she's muted. Good. All right. Now we're going to go ahead. It looks like Juliana G is not ready. Padilla, Catherine's not ready. Ariel, Myclot, you got to give me a yes when you're done. Thank you. It's funny how when I call your name, all of a sudden you answer. Alexander, are you ready? Can I move on, please? Everybody else is ready. All right, I'm going to move on. Now, this one is forgetful and kind of hard. The corner of the A up here. So what I do is I'm going to flip my little makeshift ruler around. I connect it to the dot here, and I go boop, 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 until it hits that A, and I hold it down, and I make sure it lines up with those two edges. And then I'm not going to run my line through the letter that's next to it. It goes like that. Okay. These guidelines are ugly, but they, when we get really good at this, it'll make more sense. But right now we're doing, like you guys didn't like the inner R line and the A lines, and that's all ugly. We can always erase later. But this, you're showing me your practice, so I know that you understand. So this is really, really important. And all we need to know is it's going to the edges of your letter and going to the vanishing point. I'm going to go ahead and clear. Let me know when you're ready for the next step. I bet some of you know what we're doing next. We're going to work on the R. It looks like we still have a lot of students not ready for the next step. That one was kind of challenging because there's a lot in the way. Okay, it looks like the majority of us are ready. Now we're going to do the same thing to the R. So I got to look at the corner of the R and line it up with the vanishing point. So there's one. Now I got to do this one. And then it doesn't have an inner thigh, but it has like a crotch to that R. If it goes to the vanishing point, you got to draw it. And then it depends. Mine's different than yours. And I'm going to do this bottom of the R, this bottom of the R. So you make sure you get all those corners. They're tricky. And then really similar to before, I need to get the edge of my R, which is right here, and get that to the vanishing point. This takes a little bit more time and effort, like so. There's one more part to this R that I did not do, and that is the little area on the R right here. You may or may not have an edge. Mine's kind of curvy, so I'm doing that right here. It's very hard to see. If it has a corner or an edge that can go to the vanishing point, you draw it. So now I'm going to move on to the T. Now some lines, how do I explain this, are kind of similar to where the other lines touch. For example, on my T, which may not be like yours, it runs into the R, and so it's already drawn there, and that's fine. Now, the leg I can draw easily. This leg I can draw easily to the vanishing point, that corner. The inner armpit of the T can reach the vanishing point on this one. What the heck? She said it, the inner armpit. It's right there. On this one, I cannot do the inner armpit because the letter is in the way. So wherever the letter is in the way, you can't draw the guideline. You can draw around it. Now this is like the elbow of the T. I try to relate it to body parts, have a sense of humor about it. This corner on my T, does it run into it? Yeah, a little bit. If in doubt, draw it. Anything that can go to the vanishing point. I'm going to give you some time. Let me know when you're ready for the next step. So I've done all of art. If this is easy, no-brainer for you, you can start the legs of the rules, but there's going to be parts of it that are really hard and challenging that I'm going to have to walk you through. Trying to zoom in. This is a brand new camera to me. I'm not really sure what it can or can't do. Oh yeah, that looks really good. I've never done it like this before on the computer with students, so we're making history. I just don't want to go too fast. We don't want to leave anybody behind. Sometimes, and I noticed it in this one, we have an inner part of a letter. For example, the R, there's an inside corner to that R. So don't forget the inner parts of your letters. I almost forgot. So I'm going to do that one to the vanishing point. And then the A, I don't know if I can do an inner part to the A. No, it runs through the letter, so I can't do it on that one. Depending on how large your letters are, you can do certain things. So 24 of you said you're ready for the next step. What's going on with the others? Did you forget? There's 38 of you. I'm waiting for 10 of you to respond, yes, I'm ready to move forward. Not counting McKenna. Now there's 31 of you. Jennifer, do you need help? Rita? No? Robert Perez? You can always turn on your mic and I can give you advice. Oh, I lost my pencil. Okay. Looks like we have a good amount of you finished. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the other R with my makeshift ruler. So I got to do that leg. I got to do this one. I need to do this little foot corner and this one. Now the corner of the R here, it goes through the letter, so I'm not doing that one. But the edge of the R right here, so I get my little ruler and I go from the vanishing point and I just keep turning it until it touches the R. And that's how I know where to put the line. So it goes right here. Okay. Oh, I forgot the crotch of the R. I don't know what else to call it for you guys to understand. There we go. And now I can start working on the U. Now this is the vanishing point, and I go boop, 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 boop until I get to the edge of the upper part of the U, and I can drag that down. This is a curve. Curves scare me. I'm going to do the crotch of the U to the vanishing point. I'm going to do the corner, foot. Feet are easy. The other parts are hard. Okay. Now, on the inner part of the U, I have to see if those can go to the vanishing point. On the top, this one can. So I think that's where people struggle, is the top parts. Don't fake it. Only do the corners and the edges that go with the vanishing point. I know the difference when I'm grading. All right. May I move on to the next one, or should I wait? I think I probably should wait a while. Let me know when you all are done. I've done this a billion times, so I'm pretty fast. Wow, Ryan, no kidding. Your Wi-Fi is shoddy. I can see your yes fluttering. Talk to Shant. Talk to your parents. See if you can get that Wi-Fi working. We have 3 minutes. So what I would like for you to do is finish up that U, and we're going to call it a day. I was going to ask for a photograph, but let me see if I can pull that up right now. I don't want you to feel like we're rushed with 3 minutes left. So I will, I'm not going to make you turn in a picture today. Just finish up to the U and you're fine. Does anybody have any questions or concerns that I can help you with? I'm going to turn off the video now.